Hey everybody, good morning. It's Pete. Welcome to a new episode of today's Best Stock Picks. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. It's Tuesday, March 16th, 2021. Well, the SPY ETF hit new all-time highs yesterday. Super interesting, super confusing. If you're a day trader, midday, we had this massive wave of selling that got caught by a bid immediately, which is eerily reminiscent of what happened during the rise up during the pandemic, where we would see this heavy selling wave come in, and then at 10:30, 11:30, buyers just stepped back in and rolled the market slowly. We kept calling it drifting higher. A lot of good opportunities yesterday. We're going to actually focus on some of the calls that we made for you yesterday. Hopefully you took a few of them, especially JWN, Nordstrom, which just was a rocket the entire day. Pretty much an easy trade. One of the trades that we were so hyped up on yesterday that just didn't follow through was Disney. It had one of my better setups yesterday, and that's trading. That's reality. Anybody on YouTube or anywhere else who's showing you like these perfect charts where everything just works out, they're full of beans. And quite honestly, it doesn't need to work that way all the time. You need to be right most of the time, manage your risk, and then stick around for some of the bigger gains. And that's really the skill in trading. Trading losses, honestly, they're not that big of a deal if you understand how to make money on your winners. It's not your losses that are hurting you. It's your winners. I know that sounds a little backwards, but it's 100% the truth. Losses are going to be a part of trading no matter what. It's making more on your winners, understanding how to stack the odds. That's really where trading success happens. And that's really the difference between, you're doing okay versus, yeah, I got them. I only needed one or two trades to make the month. That's the difference between a real trader and somebody who's worried about their win-loss percentage. Win-loss percentage is garbage, quite honestly. I could prove you could win 9 out of 10 trades, lose more on that one trade, and wipe out the other 9. Win-loss percentage is not that important. It's expectancy ratios and how much you make over time. That's what matters. That's a whole other video we'll get into. So obviously this week, the big thing is the FOMC meeting tomorrow. We're going to keep reminding everybody of that. As well as options expiration on Friday. If you're a new trader, especially a new day trader, that day can be challenging to trade. FOMC afternoon, sometimes you get some good moves. We'll get into it in a second. It doesn't look like they're going to do anything. I'd be shocked, even though the conversation of inflation keeps coming up. We're going to talk about a little bit more sector rotation today. Yesterday we mentioned consumer cyclicals, and we got some great trades there yesterday. We spotted some tech stocks seeing some buying yesterday. Specifically, we're going to talk about one of the bigger tech stocks out there, one of the FANG tech stocks, as well as we're going to talk about pot stocks. Pot stock seems to be showing some signs of accumulation. We're going to show you which ones we're going to be watching. We're going to show you why we're watching them. And as well as everything else, we're going to get into some new opportunities. I just can't wait to trade. It's 5:30 in the morning. I can't wait to trade. One thing I do want to talk about today, which we're really excited about, we're actually been working on a research report for months now, and we're trying to put together how to actually get involved in some of these ideas and kind of how to see the tea leaves and read the tape. So we're actually going to be coming out. Look for this tomorrow, actually. We're coming out with a new report called Smart Money Footprints, how the smart money buys and sells millions of shares to generate billions of dollars. And this is based on my last 21 years now of trading. Very excited to actually put that out for everybody tomorrow. So look for a link tomorrow. One other question that we get all the time, obviously, is people asking about how can they get my ideas during the day. Obviously on Facebook, on Facebook Live as well as YouTube. There's only so much that we can do in this kind of environment. But if you'd like to get the ideas sent right to your phone, definitely click down. That's actually what it looks like. Our bot sends them directly to your phone. Click all the way down the link if you want to take that a step further. So what are we going to talk about today? Today we're going to talk about interest rates, which is on everybody's mind. We're going to talk about new trades at all-time highs, and then we're going to dive a little bit deeper into some newer opportunities. And again, specifically the pot stocks and which opportunities we're looking at. So we're going to start out here, Wall Street Journal article today with the Fed. Obviously, everybody's expecting them to stay firm on interest rates. The bond rates are really what you're looking for right now, and just that little bit of a dip. Inflation is on everybody's mind right now. Even Michael Burry from The Big Short, he's actually left Twitter. He left Twitter. He said, my position right now, which obviously is short. He's short heavy Tesla, and he's looking for some of these stocks to roll over. Not sure why he's hiding, but that's what he's doing right now. It's such an argument right now, such a battle between interest rates and valuations versus the stimulus package now, which is that bid. So we're actually going to see what that means with that bid. That's the conversation, right? We talk about it all the time in the boot camp and inside of our private community. The SPY now, which hit new all-time highs yesterday, has now been holding the bid, which means buyers are not allowing the stocks to pull back for 7 out of the last 8 days. There was one little blip here, but even on that day when it went well offered, we recovered very quickly and hit all-time highs yesterday. And again, if you weren't involved in the market yesterday, intraday, this is what we were talking about with the selling intraday. And then just like that, buyers step back in and the stocks and the market just kind of rolled to new, fresh highs. Little frustrating intraday. I have to be honest with you. You kind of have this feeling like, all right, the picture wasn't perfect. And then you started to see heavy selling across the Dow, the NASDAQ, the S&P, and the Russell. And you're like, all right, here we go. I got to tighten up the losses a little bit. Tighten up the profits to protect them. And lo and behold, you hit that bid, and all of a sudden we just start rolling back higher. So really the point that I want to get across about that, if you're especially a new day trader right now and you're feeling like you couldn't hit water if you fell out of a boat, it's not you. I know I keep saying that every day, but the market's a little challenging right now for day trading. And you really, we have this phrase in the boot camp where we talk about 2% versus 1%. 2% risk on the trade versus 1% risk on the trade is really determining the quality of the idea. And I've kind of been down in 1% risk mode for the most part because we haven't had perfect conditions. I know we're pushing to new all-time highs, but the conditions intraday, day trading specifically is what I'm talking about. The swing trades are working out fine. It's the day trades where it's a little bit frustrating, and you really need to have a solid game plan, which we have that game plan every day at 8:30 in the morning. Again, if you want to join us on those meetings, click down. So what I'm trying to tell you, if you're a new trader, when I talk about new trader, I'm talking about the last year. Stay confident. If you feel like you've done the homework, if you feel like you put together a good trading plan, don't let the short-term price action make you feel like you can't do it. Keep working hard. That's where the success comes from. The success doesn't come from when you're winning. The success comes from when you're getting knocked down and you're like, screw that, and you keep pushing forward. But I want to give you a big piece of advice. And remember, everything we talk about here is for educational purposes. You make your own decisions. But I'm going to give you trading career advice right now. If you're striving to be a full-time day trader, pay attention to your results. Pay attention to what's going on. And I know that sounds silly, but here's what I mean by pay attention. Pay attention and then make changes. If you're not getting the results you want, there's a reason you're not getting the results you want. There's money out there. There's money to be made, whether it's the first hour of the day, the last hour of the day, or whatever time period. There's money to be made, but you need to pay attention. If you're going backwards, you need to know what you need to stop doing and then get to the point where you're only doing what works. And that's what focus is all about. You don't need to trade everything. You don't need to trade stocks, options, futures, Forex, crypto. Start specializing in something. Obviously, we specialize in stock trading. Be good at something. Go a mile deep instead of a mile wide, and you'll be surprised at how much that focus makes you come out the other side. So getting into pot stocks, we're going to take a look at those stocks. We're starting to see signs of accumulation in CGC, Tilray, and a couple of these other ones. So we'll pull up those charts now. But what's interesting is this. This is what's getting the news about the pot stocks bouncing, which is the potential legalization in New York. That's a big deal. Every time you hear something about New York, I'm born and raised in New York, so obviously it's giant. First it was the gambling that had those stocks skyrocket and they come back to earth. Now it's this. Doesn't matter. We're looking for nice short-term trades. That's what we're looking at right now. This is the reason they gave afterwards. But you know what? I don't care about the reasons. What I care about is the actual charts. And if we look down here, we're starting to see Tilray starting to show signs of accumulation. Not only just showing signs of accumulation, but we've been very clear that we want to start to see them turn around on the weekly chart, and that's what's happening. By the way, we're starting to pay attention for that in the electric vehicle sector as well. So you can see now Tilray on the weekly chart is well bid. You can see now that CGC went inside and to well bid. That's what we're paying attention to now. We're going to slowly start building a position, a little bit longer term trade here because of the price action and the volume, not one or the other. It's both of them. That's what tape reading is. Also paying attention to forecasting, which we don't normally do, but what are we looking for? We're looking for the EV stocks that we've been trading actively to start showing the same thing. And one day, remember we said order flow is not one day, it's multiple days, multiple weeks, multiple months. And now you're starting to see the EV stocks bounce a little bit. XPEV got above last week's high. Now we need to see it trade back above yesterday's open. NEO, kind of right on the edge, but again, this is where good trading comes in. You'll see us put out alerts. Set an alert for a price. You need to know it's happening prior to it getting there. So you need to put the pieces together and say, okay, if it gets to that level that matters to me, then look for an entry. So I'm kind of giving you the clues here. We're not saying to get long here the way I'm looking to get long the pot stocks right now. I am saying to pay attention. If this happens, then we plan to do this. And obviously, Tesla is the big one that has now slowly creep back up. We actually set a goal yesterday to see if it can get back above the 50-period moving average on the daily chart by the end of the week. And we're not quite there. You can see we got some room to go. We basically have to get back above 780. Not a bad start, though, the last couple of days. We're holding the bid. We're actually closing near the highs. That's one of the biggest things to pay attention to. Something else I want to point out, yesterday, we were very clear in our sector rotation breakdown, and I'll show you that really quickly here. This is the list that we send out to our community at the end of every weekend. So Sunday basically is the research reports that we send it to the weekend. You'll notice that 2 weeks ago, consumer cyclical was down in the toilet. And then yesterday actually rebounded pretty nicely and coming into the week. So you can see actually over here went from near the bottom to near the top. So big reversal there in consumer cyclical. That translated, the research translated into trades yesterday. And you can see the list of stocks that rallied, how much they rallied. So again, this is part of doing the research. And when I say research, I mean scripting your success. Maybe you can't see that. Let me actually zoom that out just a little bit so you can see it a little bit clearer. There you go, to get an idea of some of the stocks that we were looking at yesterday. So consumer cyclical, real estate actually popped, and communication services, which actually brings me into Facebook today. It doesn't really look awesome on the chart, but we were watching the tape yesterday, intraday, and Facebook had a really interesting setup yesterday where a lot of buying happened in a very short period of time. I'm going to show you that chart right now. Intraday, just to give you some ideas that sometimes the intraday clues can put you in position to notice things. Huge spike in volume and a pause, a huge spike in volume, and then the stock rested. So we started to see big spikes yesterday, and now that's leading to clues to say, okay, the daily charts don't look great, but when you start to put the pieces together, you start to notice things that you can't see just on the daily chart. Yesterday, we actually, if you remember, we went into the day calling for Boeing, and I'm actually going to first look at the intraday chart and show you what happened. This is Boeing yesterday, a lot of selling, right? This is the difference between trading and just reading charts. Yesterday morning, we were very clear. Boeing was opening up, I believe it was close to 5% higher. But this is the difference. If you have the maximum profit potential here and this much is already taken and you get a gap higher, there's certain times where you need to be booking profits into that fortunate open. And yesterday we actually said that, and the stock rolled over about $14 after the open. So learning how to save money and keep that money in your pocket, like I explained at the beginning of today's call, just as important as understanding how to make it. So yesterday we made two calls. One was looking at consumer cyclical stocks, and a lot of them rallied pretty hard. I'll show you the chart of JWN. And then Boeing, we said, looking to get out of industrials for the day, looking for them to pause, and then looking for a new entry. So I'll just show you the JWN chart so you have an idea of one of the stocks that we called out yesterday to participate in, and that's actually what happened yesterday. So we are looking at the pot stocks today, and specifically we're going to be watching CGC and Tilray. Again, this is the earlier signs of the stocks bouncing, but you can see they're holding very comfortably around the all-important 50-period moving average, which is a really big kind of line in the sand for, okay, the buyers are not letting it go down anymore. Now, the next step would be if we can get back above the 20, see the weekly charts remain well bid, which means higher highs and higher lows, then we have something special. So I want to be clear there, though, we're working our way into these positions. We had this conversation last night in our coaching call, our weekly coaching call, where we were discussing proper share sizing and position sizing in day trades versus swing trades. And as always, our weekly coaching calls are just amazing. I think that they're the best part of what we do in our community besides calling out the trades. So anyway, a lot going on today. We're going to be working those stocks. Crypto stocks, actually, you know what? Let me end on crypto stocks. they're not really trading as well as you would think. They're kind of like dragging a piano right now. I know Riot and Mara have bounced, but the charts are so deceiving. And actually, you can see here the volume is actually decreasing on the rallies, which is not what you want to see. We get a lot of questions about, crypto soaring. Why aren't we talking more about those? Quite frankly, we've been trading them every day, and they haven't been following through. They've been challenging. It's kind of like they're starting, but something's holding them back. And that's usually a clue when you're reading the tape. So be smart about that too. We want to see a little bit better clean price action. We want to see closing strong with better volume. And those are clues that tell you that you can expect follow through, kind of like what we're looking at in the pot stocks right now. So going to be an interesting day. Again, tomorrow, FMC option expiration at the end of the week. We're sticking with the consumer cyclical stocks today. We talked about this yesterday as well in the boot camp, that you don't need to find new stocks every day. If you got a good stock, stick with it. We joke around that if the ATM is broken, stay there. Don't go looking for another ATM. If the money's coming out of the bottom, stay there. And we had a couple of good ideas yesterday, so those are still in play as well. So if you find these videos helpful, first, thank you so much for being here with me. Click down and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. That means a lot too. That tells me that you like the kind of videos that we're putting out. And if you have any questions about what we have here in the videos we talked about, leave a comment down below. And don't forget, tomorrow, very excited. We're launching this for you tomorrow. We're going to give you a chance to get this absolutely free. We'll just give you a link to get it tomorrow. So have a great day, everybody. I'll speak to you soon.